Hi everybody. I hope this works out okay. I'm outside, my camera's acting up. This one's gonna be about sleep and bipolar disorder. Um, just sort of vaguely, your body and mind know when to sleep, and with two ways, two different cues. The internal clock, the circadian rhythm, which is involves the part of your brain, the hypothalamus, and the hormone melatonin, which you may have heard of. And external cues such as sunrise, sunset, and your daily schedule. Sleep and bipolar disorder are so intertwined that some people even question whether bipolar is actually a mood disorder and rather a sleep disorder. Sort of a which came first, the chicken or the egg situation. But most people agree that it goes like you mess with you don't get the quality of sleep, the amount of sleep you need, or your sleep is interrupted, you triggering a manic or mixed episode is pretty common when you mess with your sleep. And I'm sorry, my brain's a little distracted. I'm not really sure why, so. Okay, so it's probably like the number one trigger for most people with bipolar disorder, the stress being underneath that, but that can go hand in hand because when you have stress or anxiety, you have trouble sleeping, and then next thing you know, you're in a manic or mixed or just a mood episode. So sleep is imperative. Quality of sleep, quantity of sleep, uninterrupted sleep. Your sleep is in a cycle of different stages. You need a certain amount of all those stages in the right order without being interrupted. Now, how realistic is that in life? Usually not so realistic. Do your best. Okay. A couple of my experiences with sleep and bipolar disorder. Let's see, I'll start with when I was just starting to get the symptoms that led to my diagnosis. I was an RN. I worked oncology, that is working with cancer patients. I loved it. I was good at it, but as you can understand, it was a stressful job. And I worked the night shift. I worked 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. And I never really slept very well during the day, and I would catch up with my sleep on my days off. That never works very well. And I really think that those two things, the sleep and the stress, sent me into the manic state that sent me to my primary doctor saying, my thoughts are going a mile a minute, I can't sit still, and I can't sleep, something's wrong. At the time, I started experiencing a lot of anxiety, and I had taken Zoloft in the past for social anxiety and depression, so my primary doctor put me on that. So that is pretty much considered a no-no. Manic episode, she really didn't understand what she was dealing with, and neither did I yet. I didn't know, and she gave me this huge dose of Zoloft while I was coming out of this manic phase going into a mixed. And I spent 2 weeks without a wink of sleep, and I'm not exaggerating at all. And yes, every day I got. I know some people don't like to use these certain words, but I got crazier and crazier every day without the sleep. I was getting in a more dangerous and dangerous place. That mixed episode was one of those where my mind was still racing. I still could not sit still for the life of me. And I feel tense. Excuse me. Do a little, get rid of that tension in my face for some reason. Sorry. And I could not sleep, but my thoughts, my racing, repetitive, intrusive thoughts were very negative and dark and scary, and they just got more and more delusional and bizarre as the days went on. And I took my blanket and pillow out on the front porch and was laying down and just amazed that the whole world is so quiet and asleep, and here I am in mental chaos and mental noise, and yet everything's so quiet, and it was not fair, and I was angry, and I walked the streets in my pajamas and bare feet, just lost. And then one day I did fall asleep, and when I opened my eyes, I couldn't move and I couldn't think. I was pretty much catatonic. I just went from on full power to lost all juice whatsoever, dead battery. But as I said, the more I stayed up, the less sleep, the insomnia each day that I did not get any sleep, the more delusional and bizarre and dangerous my thought processes and behaviors were getting. The other one was kind of my fault. Kind of. I was slipping into a little manic episode, getting real creative, real productive. This was many years later, and by this time I knew bedtime, I knew routine, I knew it was dangerous, but I was like, well, I'll just stay up a little half hour longer to write this chapter. And then it was an hour. Well, I did okay with staying up for an hour longer. How about hour and a half? And over a period of months, my sleeping went from totally switched. I stayed up all night and slept during the day, I was staying up till 4 or 5 a.m. writing, and not realizing that my writing was getting incoherent and bizarre and making no sense whatsoever, and I thought I was this genius, productive, creative person. And I ended up psychotic and in the hospital because I was still getting some sleep, but I had let it get switched, and I was sleeping during the day and not at night. And I would just get more and more excitable as the minutes went by at night, and it was so hard to get to sleep because I was just so wired, and it would be okay, 8 hours during the day, and then just 5, and then 3, and then I was in the hospital. So those are my personal experiences. The next little installment will be about suggestions to try for you to follow. Get some good night's sleep.